It's been a long time coming, but House of the Dragon is set to premiere soon, which got a lot of Game of Thrones fans pretty hyped up. Who wouldn't be after HBO's hit fantasy drama received mixed reactions during its finale? But now things are looking better. For today's episode, we'll be sharing how the Game of Thrones author reacts to more House of the Dragon episodes. So, stay tuned. First up, the Game of Thrones author gives his stamp of approval for upcoming series spin-off. George R.R. Martin, the widely praised creator of the novel series A Song of Ice and Fire, which was adjusted to a series that prompted Game of Thrones, supported the House of the Dragon series and applauded the perplexing characters and action-packed sequences, which he has been given a preview of recently. Following House Targaryen hundreds of years before Daenerys Targaryen becomes the mother of dragons, the HBO prequel series will zero in on the inward struggle that distressed the family in the battle for the Iron Throne. House of the Dragon will bring Martin's Dance of the Dragon book to existence with an elite player cast including Matt Smith, Olivia Cooke, Emma D'Arcy, Millie Alcock, Paddy Constantine, and Sonoya Mizuno. Martin has given supporters reason to be enthusiastic by offering positive feedback for the House of the Dragon by posting his reaction to a personal blog. The GOT creator expresses his enthusiasm for how the show brings rich, complicated characters to life, one that live in the gray area between good and evil. After seeing a few new cuts from the series, in addition to the story's human difficulties, the author promises plenty of fantasy fights and ferocious dragons. I saw rough cuts of a couple more episodes of House of the Dragon, and was just as pleased as I was with the earlier episodes. Martin wrote on his blog, "Ryan and Miguel and their cast and crew are doing great work. Those of you who like complex, conflicted, great characters, as I do, will like this series, I think. There will be plenty of dragons and battles, to be sure, but the spine of the story is the human conflicts, the love, and the hate. Character drama rather than action-adventure." HBO announced the prequel not long after the finale of Game of Thrones, where they highlighted one fantasy kingdom onto the next, getting similar as nationwide conflict breaks out inside the Targaryen group. The rambling guarantees similar sensation style and political scandal as its sister series. House of the Dragon will unfurl more than 10 episodes like the first series, with Miguel Sapochnik and Ryan Condal starting to lead the pack as co-showrunners. Martin keeps on showing his help as a chief maker for the series. Since many fans were upset with Game of Thrones last season, HBO's spinoff has been a hot topic of discussion. House of Dragon now has the task of regaining audience approval while telling a brand new story. Fans of the original program were concerned that the prequel might fall short, but Martin's endorsement is reassuring. Even Game of Thrones cast members expressed enthusiasm for the spinoff, but expressed misgivings about whether the prequel would be purely a cash grab or an attempt at something new. As fans wait for the premiere of House of the Dragon, hope for the series will grow with each favorable comment Martin makes about the new universe. With all new cast members and a tight storyline, audiences can expect harsh emotional turmoil to rival the spectacular action sequences involving dragons and destruction. Following the failure of Game of Thrones, HBO is approaching the new series with caution to avoid the same negative reaction from viewers. House of the Dragon is set to premiere in August, so viewers will have to rely on the internal production team's opinions to ensure its success until then. Up next, several cast members from the Game of Thrones also expressed their support for the show. Martin wasn't the only one who's been showing positive sentiments about the show. Two more members of the Game of Thrones cast are looking forward to this prequel. One of them is Peter Dinklage, who rose to astronomical heights after portraying the role of Tyrion Lannister in the series. While promoting the film Serrano back in 2021, the actor shared his thoughts on the upcoming series during a chat with The Independent. "I think the trick is not to try to recreate Thrones. If you try to recreate it, that feels like a money grab," Dinklage commented. "With a lot of sequels, the reason for them is that the first one made a lot of money, which is why they aren't as strong. But I'm excited to watch the House of the Dragon, purely as a viewer, not knowing what will happen next. Game of Thrones was a magnificent achievement that cannot and should not be duplicated. Although some familiar names and locations appear in House of the Dragon, the film ultimately tells its own story. That alone makes it thrilling. It also has its own creative team, which may satisfy fans who were disappointed by the Game of Thrones finale." Dinklage, like many others, is looking forward to seeing House of the Dragon. Dinklage's on-screen brother on the show, Nikolaj Coster-Waldau, who portrays Jaime Lannister, also shared similar sentiments and hopes that House of the Dragon will be its own story and not an attempt to recreate Game of Thrones. When the first trailer of the show dropped, Coster-Waldau shared his thoughts on what he thought about it in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter back in October. He began by praising how fun it was to see the actor Matt Smith in such a setting while sporting a beautiful white wig, and that he's also curious like everybody else is to see it. "But it is a very different show. It's its own show. I just hope it's great," the actor commented. "I hope the success of Game of Thrones won't get in the way for people when they experience this new show. For us, it took a while for people to get into Game of Thrones. I remember the first season people were saying, there are too many characters. I don't know what's going on. I don't think they have the luxury we had. They had to start with where we were in the season 4 or 5 because that's what they'll be compared to, but I really hope that it's a massive hit for them. House of the Dragon has major shoes to fill, and as Coster-Waldau called attention to, it doesn't have the advantage of a gradual process developing as its ancestor did, since crowds have become used to the scale and style of Game of Thrones. They'll anticipate a comparable methodology for House of the Dragon. It'll be intriguing to check whether the prequel can match the first without skipping a beat, or on the other hand, assuming it also will require time to arrive at the grandiose levels of Thrones. And since we already tapped onto these Lannister siblings, we might as well look into the Lannisters of the upcoming show, which is a far cry from the family that we know. Continuing on, the Lannisters from House of the Dragon will be very different from Game of Thrones. Only Only 2 Lannister characters have been confirmed for the upcoming Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, implying the Lannisters would play a significantly different role in the story. The prequel's main focus is on House Targaryen, and how the silver-haired, violet-eyed dragon-riding family came to be legendary. How do the Lannisters fit in with the Targaryen line, which is the core plot of House of the Dragon? The only Lannisters so far are twins Lord Jason and Tywin Lannister, both played by Jefferson Hall. In addition to the main Targaryen cast of House of the Dragon, Lord Jason is the Lord of the Casterly Rock, although little more is known about him. Tywin, on the other hand, will be a brilliant politician. With what we know about the events of Fire and Blood, the Lannisters cannot possibly wield the same power and influence in House of the Dragon. Lord Jason is said to have been killed at the Targaryens' Dance of the Dragons, which takes place early in the series. Tywin Lannister is appointed as the Targaryens' King Master of Coin. Tywin's status, however, is short-lived when he is kidnapped and tortured. While Tywin's role as Hand of the King to Aegon III becomes more important to the plot, the subplot may extend beyond the span of the series. Since the audience saw them as a corrupt and multifaceted family in Game of Thrones, where their escapades and ever-changing allegiances made the house an entertaining one to watch, it appears that roles previously filled by the Lannisters will be taken by new people. The Lannisters will not stick out as much as others, such as Lord Corlys Velaryon, because they are still affluent. Lord Corlys of the House of Velaryon is wealthier than the Lannisters, and commands Westeros' largest navy. It remains to be seen whether he is as ruthless and crafty as Tywin Lannister. So far, we can only assume based on what we know, so we have to wait for the series premiere to see how the storyline will unfold. With that, we're wrapping up today's episode about the House of the Dragon. What are your thoughts about the upcoming series? Let us know in the comments section below. Before you go, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel with the notification bell on for more videos like these. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.